fight. That's been taken away from me for like nearly a year now, and that's got nothing to do with me, which is, it's a bit frustrating to be honest, but we are nearly over it now, which is good. It is a crazy situation, but there's a lot of politics in the UFC at the top levels, and it's just like out of my hands, so there's nothing I can really do about it.
What do you mean? Do you know what I mean? Be fucking sick of getting asked about that, you know.
It's it's not the best. You know what? It's better now because I do know what's going on.
Tom Aspinall pulled back the curtain on the frustrating reality at the top tier of the UFC, pointing to the heavy dose of politics that often clouds the championship picture and acknowledging the frustrating dynamics behind the scene. Building on that frustration, Tom Aspinall appears ready to turn the page on the Jon Jones saga. Reflecting on the current state of the heavyweight division, Aspinall acknowledged that Jones is simply enjoying life and may have hit the natural expiration date every fighter eventually faces. What once frustrated him now feels like old news, as the interim champ makes it clear he's no longer dwelling on the delays. Aspinall's focus is forward-facing, and all he wants now is to get back in the cage and do what he does best.
Keep watching, Tom. Yeah. Everyone says about in Glory Hunter and that. I was like, I watched when they fucking started losing. They weren't when they were winning.
Gotta ask you. You know what I'm gonna ask you first? Jon Jones.
Oh yeah. That old one, living his best life, mate, isn't he, in Thailand? So everybody reaches a sell-by date, don't they? Everybody's got a time limit. He's reached it, and we move on.
I reckon anyone else
at a time, but it's all in the past now. We're moving forward. Everything's good. We can get fighting again, and I just want to get fighting, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Be fucking sick of getting asked about that, you know.
It's it's not the best. You know what? It's better now because I do know what's going on a little bit, and I am going to fight soon, so that's nice. But
that forward focus is paying off as Aspinall confirmed that a fight is finally on the horizon, a welcome development after 6 months of uncertainty that only fueled his mounting frustration. Stripping it all down, Aspinall made it clear it's never been about the money, the fame, or even the title. For him, it's always been about the fight itself. The rankings and recognition might be part of the package, but at his core, he's in the UFC for one reason: to compete. Everything else is just a bonus for Tom.
So that's nice, but for like the last kind of 6 months, I've just not known what's going on. Do you know what the worst bit is? Is like, you know this yourself, it's like money, fame, titles, rankings, all that aside, I just love fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like fighting people. That's what I got into it for. I didn't get into it for anything else. All the other stuff is just like nice to have on top. I want to be the best fighter I can be. I love it. I'm in the gym every day. I just want to fight. That's been taken away from me for like nearly a year now, and that's got nothing to do with me, which is, it's a bit frustrating to be honest, but we are nearly over it now, which is good. No, I've just been, you know what, that's actually one of the positives that's come out of it is, when you've got a fight, you're training for a guy, aren't you? Yeah, you're training for one guy. I've just been training to get better, which is great. Do you know what I mean? I've been like improving and that, and I'm someone who's in the gym constantly anyway. Like I'll train twice a day if I've got a fight or not. Obviously the intensity increases if I do have a fight soon.
Even more revealing, Aspinall made his stance clear that if the roles were reversed and he were in Jon Jones's position, there's no chance he'd let another fighter publicly claim they could beat him without stepping up to settle it in the cage. Aspinall emphasized that win or lose, he'd take the fight and stand his ground. For him, it's about pride, legacy, and proving yourself when it counts, not backing down when your name is being called.
Saying that they're going to beat me and not at least fight them. And then if I lose, at least I tried my best.
And it's even more in that case when you're the reigning heavyweight champion of the world and you've got someone holding.
It is crazy.
And when it comes to the politics behind the scenes, Aspinall sheds light on the murky forces looming over the UFC's heavyweight elite, highlighting how decisions at the top aren't always dictated by merit or momentum. Despite being ready and willing, the interim champ found himself benched, caught in a holding pattern dictated by forces beyond his reach.
Situation, but there's a lot of politics in the UFC at the top levels, and it's just like out of my hands, so there's nothing I can really do about it.
What's that?
Echoing that sentiment, Ariel Helwani weighed in firmly on the heavyweight title situation, stressing that the most important thing in the sport is the belt, and it should be treated as such. With the UFC targeting Madison Square Garden for a major showdown, Helwani argued that if Jon Jones continues to delay or show disinterest in defending the title, it's time to move on.
The belt. The most important thing in this sport is the belt. The most important thing to the UFC is the belt. That's what everything gears towards. And they have told us they hate when people vacate the title or don't want to defend the title. I saw some people saying yesterday like, oh, he just defended the title. All right, are we going to wait till November to strip him? The fight that they want to book is for November. It's for MSG. If he doesn't want to fight today for November, it's time to move on. National Fight Week, 317. I'm imposing an International Fight Week deadline. An announcement must be made. A decision must be made. That's when the eyes of the MMA world are on the UFC. It's their Super Bowl. Announce Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. Announce Tom Aspinall versus Francis Ngannou, which would be the ultimate swerve. Not going to happen, but wouldn't it be something? Or just announce Tom versus Cyril Gane.
Similarly, the MMA guru called out a growing inconsistency in Dana White's stance on John Jones. He highlighted how Dana once painted Jones as a fearless competitor, eager to fight anyone, anytime. But now, with Dana's apparent frustration and excuses, things have changed.
Listen to that statement and how different it was from Dana a year ago. Because that's how long we've been waiting for this shit. John Jones says no to nobody. You know, there's a couple guys backstage where when you say they want to fight, they say yes. And John Jones is one of them. Remember the whole propaganda mission he went on about Jones when it came to whether or not he said yes to the Ngannou fight, even though he disappeared for 3 fucking years before the Ngannou fight was coming up? You know? Remember when Jones's next fight was set to be Ngannou and he disappeared for 3 years so he could bulk up to heavyweight just to show up with a pot belly and fight Cyril Gane on 4 weeks' notice, a guy who can't grapple? Yeah, he's not scared of anybody, man. But now we're getting a lot of he doesn't want to fight. He's walking back stuff because he's losing patience. So we've always been struggling to get Jones to take fights, certain matchups. It's definitely the process with John Jones. Listen to the stark difference of what he was saying about John. John Jones ain't scared of nobody. You put John Jones in a room with anybody. Remember the whole media tour he went on? I covered all of it. Where Dana White was talking about, you put John Jones in a room with anybody, John Jones is walking out. He ain't scared of nobody, this John Jones guy. But now it's always the process with John Jones trying to get him into a fight.
In addition, Michael Bisping admitted that staying patient with John Jones has become a challenge, citing the champion's ongoing antics as increasingly hard to ignore. While Bisping has made an effort to remain respectful and avoid crossing the line, Jones's behavior has tested that restraint. Between the delays, mind games, and mixed signals, Bisping suggested that keeping composure in the face of it all is becoming a tall order.
And John Jones tweeted up a storm saying he's retired, saying he wants Francis.
Oh, yeah.
I can't keep up. We can't keep up, and we talk about it every week, but this is worth talking about. First of all, Tom isn't an English black belt. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There isn't an English black belt. That doesn't exist. He is a black belt. He does have a ground game. He has submitted many people. But this kind of pivoting and going after Francis Ngannou, I don't know what to say. I don't want to be too offensive. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's the greatest of all time. I'm trying to not talk too much shit. It's like, bro, it doesn't matter. Francis Ngannou, by the way, has been beaten along the way by Derek Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Every week, it just gets murkier and murkier.
Yeah, and we said it last week where, you know, that when he when he was asked at that seminar that he was doing, and he's like, oh, it's in the UFC's hands, and we've both signed agreements saying that we won't say anything. The UFC is going to announce it. We got a little bit excited thinking maybe this means that there's going to be a date soon.
In fact, Bisping didn't stop there. He argued that if avoiding Tom Aspinall was part of the plan from the start, then Jones should have informed the UFC up front, eliminating the need for an interim title. In his view, setting up a temporary championship only to dodge the inevitable clash with Aspinall sends the wrong message and undermines the purpose of crowning an interim champion in the first place.
There's a goddamn interim champion, okay?
Yeah.
If you didn't want to fight him, you should have said it at the time to Dana, to Hunter, don't do an interim belt. Do not do an interim belt because I won't fight him if that's how you truly felt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know even how to take it anymore. For the longest time, I really thought that it was just to kind of rile up Tom, to get in his head, to do all this stuff. But now, I mean, he's showing interest in Francis coming back. And by the way, Dana was asked about this too, and he said that he's probably not going to sign Francis back to the UFC. So
7 months. He hasn't worked out. He hasn't been in the gym. You know what I mean? If you
I've done more MMA workouts than the current heavyweight champ.
You know, and yeah, all right, great. He's gifted. He's a genius. He's a prodigy. He can do that. He can get out, get back in shape and still beat these people. If he actually thought he was going to fight Tom Aspinall, surely. I mean, he said he needed 6 months, right? That was a few months ago, and he still hasn't been in the gym. And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm not talking shit. I'm not fat shaming him or anything. The little clips we see online, he doesn't look bad, but he doesn't look like he's like training.
Furthermore, Kamaru Usman weighed in on the heavyweight drama, pointing out the unpredictability that often surrounds UFC president Dana White. According to Usman, history has shown that Dana can reverse course, leaving the door open for a potential blockbuster clash between Jones and Ngannou. In Usman's view, the fight game always follows the money, and if the dollars line up, so will the bout.
You know, John, of course, still, you know, John, of course, still wants the Francis fight. You know, Aspinall wants John. And now, I guess they said Francis responded to John, but then Dana says he probably wouldn't consider it. But listen, Henry, it's not the first time Dana said that before. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. So what do you think about all of this right now in the heavyweight division?
In agreement with that notion, Henry Cejudo threw his support behind a potential showdown between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, stating that this was the fight fans were originally clamoring for.
That's absolute, dude. This is great. This is good timing, but this is a great breakdown play.
Moreover, Kamaru and Henry agreed that the current heavyweight situation isn't the fault of any single fighter. Instead, they pointed to the UFC's decision to introduce 2 belts in the division as the root of the confusion. In their view, the promotion created a split narrative, and the complications that followed were an inevitable result of having dual champions in play.
Who created this mess?
Don't even say me, dude.
No. I'm saying who created this mess right here. You have 2 guys claiming that they're the champion in the division. Both guys have, you handed both guys belts.
The UFC.
Exactly. So it's not Tom's fault.
Tom
did his job. It's not John's fault. John did his job. Now I'm telling you right now, the biggest fight in UFC history will be Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou. Now,
despite the chaos, Tom Aspinall made it clear he's not in the business of stirring the pot with baseless headlines. He distanced himself from the media frenzy, stating that when he speaks, it's with purpose and substance. Aspinall emphasized that announcing fights isn't in his hands. That's a job for the higher-ups.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, they've come out, oh, it's really raining. I think a lot of people come out and they see what I've said and they think it's some kind of media stunt. Listen, I don't do that kind of stuff. If I'm going to come out and say something, it's going to be informed information. Do you know what I mean? So, as I've said a couple of times, not for me to say. That's beyond my pay grade. I don't announce no fights. I don't announce no UFC news or nothing like that. But there is some coming. There's definitely some coming. So, Dana White says I'm his man. We love that. We love that on the channel.
Backing up Aspinall's legitimacy, True Geordie didn't mince words when addressing Jon Jones' impact on the heavyweight division, arguing that the reigning champ isn't just damaging his own legacy, he's actively holding the UFC back. His criticism extended beyond Jones' inactivity, pointing to the frustration of seeing the division stall while Jones entertains fights that do little to advance the sport.
If you're not going to fight Tom Aspinall, just retire, mate, because he's been holding up the heavyweight division for the longest time, not just with inactivity, but also ridiculous, wasteful, pointless fights like that Stipe Miocic fight. And the UFC desperately needs stars right now when we've got one in Tom Aspinall, but we're not doing anything with him. He's not being allowed to fly the way he should do because this guy's ego won't allow it. You say he doesn't want to retire, even though he's got an interim champion that he should be dealing with if he wants to remain champion. He's like, Lord, just strip me. I'll still fight anyway. He clearly wants to carry on fighting, in my opinion. He just doesn't want to fight the most dangerous way he's carrying himself now. Now, as a champion, it is without doubt the most embarrassing way I've ever seen a champion conduct themselves in a title ring.
True Geordie doubled down, criticizing Jones for trolling fans and fellow fighters alike, treating the situation with sarcasm and a lack of seriousness. According to Geordie, the lighthearted antics aren't just immature, they're insulting to supporters who have backed him.
The way he's going about avoiding that fight and the way he's speaking right now, it's so disrespectful, not only to the UFC, but to every single fan he's got left. Because he's making them all look like idiots, by the way, with them having to support a guy who's literally behaving like a coward as a heavyweight world champion. And it's just so detrimental to the UFC. You look at boxing right now. Boxing's never been stronger, up and down the divisions, but the heavyweight division is flying, and it's because it's being led by a great champion in Alexander Usyk, who is taking on all comers. And by the way,
Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett didn't hold back in praising his fellow Brit, calling Tom Aspinall the top heavyweight on the planet. With the division in flux and John Jones sidelined, Pimblett made it clear who he sees as the true king of the big men, subtly pointing out that being active matters, a quiet dig at Jones's time away from the octagon.
Little space lad. This reminds me of the old next gen lad in the old 5-1 building. Obviously Tom's fucking the best heavyweight in the world, especially the best fucking active heavyweight. It's just nice to go and train with other people and get other points of view, know what I mean? And anyone else in that position would have been stripped. I was talking to Adam Cattle about it the other week.
Yeah, seen it.
He should be stripped now.
Strategically, Francis Ngannou's coach, Eric Nixick, offered his take on a potential clash between Tom Aspinall and John Jones, admitting that if the fight were to materialize, he'd lean toward Aspinall. Citing Tom's rare blend of athleticism and skill, Wood believes the interim champ has the physical tools and dynamic ability that others often only talk about.
I mean, I lean towards Tom, to be honest with you. I just do. I think being able to work with Tom, just small. I mean, I've got to hold pads for him. I got to work with him, but I spoke to him more and understanding his fight IQ and understanding what he's trying to accomplish, but he has the athleticism to do those things that we speak about. Like right after John fought Stipe, Tom called me and he's like, "What'd you see?" And I was like, kind of like, "Well, boom, boom, boom." Saw the same things, da 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 da. But he has the skill set to back that up. I just lean towards Tom and the youth, the athleticism, and the things he's capable of doing. I think he's the new age of heavyweight.
MMA's top manager, Ali Abdelaziz, weighed in with some pointed advice for Tom Aspinall. Abdelaziz said he would have urged him to shift focus months ago, forget John Jones, stay active and defend the interim belt, and when Jones finally returns, make the undisputed title bout on Aspinall's terms.
Well, at the moment, Tom Aspinall is my favorite UFC fighter. And if I was his manager or advisor, whatever, I would have said a long time ago, I don't care about John Jones. Keep me busy. Let me keep defending the interim title. And after that, have a couple defenses. The UFC made him we made him a champion. And if John Jones want to come back, he have to challenge for the title. Now they let John Jones hold the chips by Tom holding his feet. Listen, you can buy everything back except time. And I think Tom Aspinall make a huge mistake waiting for John Jones because this time worth so much money and worth so much training.
However, Michael Jai White acknowledged Tom Aspinall's talent, but pointed out a key distinction when it comes to legacy. While Aspinall holds the interim heavyweight title, White noted that Alex Pereira has already etched his name in history as a two-division champion, making him a compelling opponent in terms of legacy. Still, despite the comparisons and speculation, White expressed strong confidence that the much-anticipated clash between Aspinall and John Jones will eventually happen.
Tom Aspinall is very talented, but if he's talking about legacy, I gotta say, Alex Pereira is a two-division champion. Tom Aspinall has the interim championship, but I mean, yeah, I gotta say, yeah, legacy-wise, Pereira is a good fight. I think they will.
Okay, so if that happens, then no one can talk shit anymore.
Right? Yeah, I think they will. And I dare I say, I think John has gotten better. he shut out the longest winning heavyweight champion there was. He shut him down. And I'm talking about, like, when I talk about that, untelegraphed those untelegraphed punches he threw, which is another thing we worked on, that looks like he freaking mastered.
Tom Aspinall isn't waiting around for permission. While the division stalls and the politics drag on, he's staying focused on what matters. Fighting. Title or no title, he's ready to show who runs the heavyweight division. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more fight game deep dives, and drop a comment. Do you think Tom Aspinall is the true heavyweight king? Let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video with more exciting updates.